tragic events of U.S. history. September 11, 2001, the day we were attacked by Islamic terrorists. The day where everyone was in hysteria, not knowing whether their loved ones were dead or alive. That memory will remain engraved in our minds. Now I want you to think about civilians in foreign countries. Civilians who are being attacked by drones as these military weapons try to take out terrorist groups. Innocent civilians are dying because the U.S. is using drones as the centerpiece in combating terrorism. The use of drones as the main tool in counter-terrorism has been unethical and has been giving rise to more terrorists. Therefore, new rules must be established regarding their use. Today I will talk about what drones are, how they are unethical, how they are creating more problems than they solve, and what we should do to fix it. To start off, I'll inform you on what drones are and how they're used in military combat. In scientificamerican.com, it says that drones are aircraft vehicles that can either follow a pre-programmed mission or can be remotely controlled by a pilot on the ground. In American Journal of International Relations, it says that drones can either be used for surveillance purposes or they can be used to monitor a specific target. In an article entitled "Why Drones Work" from Foreign Affairs, it states that the advantages to these new tactical weapons is that they can fly for longer times, so you can monitor a target for a continuous amount of time. They minimize the danger of the flight crew, and they minimize the global war on terror by eliminating those in Al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups. Now let's look into their consequences. Since 2002, the U.S. has been issuing thousands of drone strikes to weaken the Al-Qaeda leadership, but they have done so unethically. Drones have been eliminating terrorists with minimal civilian casualties. On April 23rd, it was announced in the Huffington Post in an article entitled "A Drone Program That Has Killed Hundreds of Civilians Finally Killed Some That the White House Regrets," states that the CIA launched a drone strike in Pakistan on January 2015. Unfortunately, 2 hostages, an American development expert Warren Weinstein and Italian aid worker Giovanni Laporto, were killed in the strike. Why has this caused shock if the killing of innocent civilians has been going on since the program began? Is there no concern for the foreign civilians are in Somalia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and other countries that they have been fighting and been in risk and dying because of the drone strikes? Although the drone strike started with Bush, it has been escalating under Obama's administration. Let's go back to January 2014, when the CIA launched its first drone strike under the Obama administration. The Bureau for Investigative Journalism stated that 10 militants, 1 possibly high-value target, and 9 innocent civilians died in the strike. Where is the justification in that? Where do we draw the line on the number of civilians being lost in these attacks? Once again, according to the Bureau for Investigative Journalism, 3,000 people, including nearly 500 civilians, have been killed in the strike, with President Barack Obama in office. Let's look at some images of the aftermath. This is an image of Sadullah Wazir at the age of 15. In an article entitled "Undisclosed by Foreign Policy," it states that in September 2009, drone missiles attacked his home in Pakistan while they were trying to kill an operative, Elias Kashmiri, but ended up only killing civilians. Sadullah lost his eye, lost both of his legs, lost 3 of his family members, and then ultimately his life because of infections due to his injuries. The second image is showing you Muslims burning the American flag, and this is a representation of how there's growing hatred for the United States in foreign countries because of our drone strike policies. And it's just going to continue on growing unless we do something about it. And lastly, I'll leave you with this image of innocent children being drone strike victims in foreign countries. How do you think their family feels when they go on the ground and they see their children like this lying on the ground? How has the U.S. allowed such immoral acts to continue? This leads me to another problem at hand. The increased use of military drones are creating more problems than they can solve. The way drone strikes are being administered are allowing for an increased chance of terrorists to arise and attack Americans. Drones are creating enemies. Targeted killings have not limited the ability for a terrorist group to replace their dead militants. As a matter of fact, in an article entitled "Why Drones Fail," published by the Council on Foreign Relations, it states that Al-Qaeda's propaganda has been increasing and has been gaining more support because of the drone strikes. As-Sahab, the Al-Qaeda's branch, has been gaining support by broadcasting footage of strikes and saying that this is a discrimination towards Muslims. And as the article states, they frame Americans as immoral bullies. Drone strikes have also ignited anger in the United States. A naturalized U.S. citizen, Faisal Shahzad, tried to bomb Times Square in May 2010. When he was in court and he pleaded guilty, he stated that he was angered by how the U.S. is using their drone strike policies against Muslim countries, and the anger is just going to continue to grow. Pursuing this further, in order to fix this, the U.S. must create global guidelines that establish when these drones can be used and explicitly justifies when they should be used. First, the U.S. must reject the global war theory. As stated by Amnesty International's website, the U.S. must stop this idea that the government has the authority to use lethal force globally if terrorism is involved. The U.S. must first ensure that the lethal force in foreign countries is only used when absolutely unavoidable and seems to endanger the lives of American citizens. Clearer rules must be established on when it is appropriate to conduct targeted killings. Secondly, the U.S. must create stricter guidelines that focus more on upholding the right of all people and not just American citizens. The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights states that the international human rights law prohibits discrimination on grounds of national origin. The life of a non-American citizen cannot be less worthy of protection. If there is any doubt on whether a person is a civilian or not, then no further military action should proceed. Lastly, it should be clear now that the U.S. military drone policy must be changed. Let's go back to 9/11 once more and remember how we felt. Think about our contempt towards those who created that attack. How do you think those in foreign countries feel? Those who are living in paranoia, never knowing if one day their family might be killed by a strike. A mom never knowing if she may leave her child an orphan one day. Our 9/11 is their daily struggle. What makes you think that they wouldn't want to cause us harm? The U.S. must change its military views in order to ameliorate our foreign relations. And if I'm elected, I will make sure that this happens. Thank you.